Hello and welcome back to How Good Were They, the podcast by the Football History Boys. We look at some of football's greatest players and teams and managers to decide once and for all how good were they. And today we're looking at a Premier League legend, the player who's still undefeated at the top of the top goal scorer rankings. It is, of course, Alan Shearer. Thoughts?
Well, exactly that. He's a Premier League legend, isn't he? You can't not be and be the leading Premier League all-time goal scorer. Chased down by some of the great strikers that we've seen in recent years. Chased down by people like Harry Kane, who never made it. Obviously, left before he'd done it. And so we are talking about a Premier League legend, but he is perfect, I think, for that question of how good was he? He's got a lot of goals, but was he world class? Was he quality in that way? And I think it's really interesting.
It is an interesting point. So let's go through, first of all, his career, who he played for, and his stats as well. So start off at Southampton, of course, in the old Football League from 88 to 92. Then he was signed by Blackburn Rovers as a young up-and-coming player. Did incredibly well at Blackburn, winning the Golden Boot a few times, winning the Premier League, of course, famously in 1995 alongside Chris Sutton with that incredible partnership. And then, of course, he goes on to make the world record transfer fee, I think 50 million at the time, to Newcastle, where he was then for the rest of his career. He's from Newcastle, so when he went there, it was like a big homecoming. And for Newcastle fans, they thought this was the point where they were going to overcome that trophy duck of not winning for so long. They thought they were going to finally achieve maybe even the Premier League, because at that point they were chasing the biggest honours in English football, weren't they? But of course, he doesn't win much. Maybe we'll look about that a bit later on. Do you want to hear his stats?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, so starting off at Southampton, of course, in the English Football League as a youngster, teenager at first, 43 goals in 158 games, so not the prolific and we come to expect. However, we've got to say, 158 games, a lot of games he played with Southampton, which I think is forgotten.
It is forgotten, definitely, yeah, because it's pre-Premier League, isn't it? It's that whole thing of everything that happened before 1992 didn't really count.
91 season, only 4 goals in 36 games in the league. But the season that he finished off there is the final season in the Football League. So what's so important about Alan Shearer is he's that player that kind of crosses the Football League to the Premier League, isn't it? And he is so quintessentially Premier League, isn't he? Blackburn Rovers then 4 seasons there, 130 goals in 171 games. That's a really good, very good outcome there. Consistently getting over 30 goals in the season. Then he was in Newcastle for a long time, from 96 to 2006, 206 goals in 405 games. So pretty much exactly a goal every other game. Overall stats then, 379 goals in 734 games. So very good. Maybe not the prolific levels we see today of some players. Even Luis Suarez or Lewandowski, Benzema, all have superior goal records to Alan Shearer. I think when we look a bit further into his career later, we'll probably see that he was of his time.
Yeah, and he's different in some ways in that he wasn't playing for the top clubs, which we'll come on to. He did it for his hometown club, and that gives him a degree of legendary status for a lot of people, isn't it? Famously turning down a move to Man United to play under Ferguson. But you can't argue with 300 plus goals, No. It's incredibly impressive.
And then for England, he has 30 goals, so maybe not the, he should have more, really. I mean, he did stop playing for England age 30, so he could have had a few more years in him there.
Yeah. Not as, it's like a top goal scorer in Wales stat sort of numbers, that isn't it? Of what we used to have with Rush on that sort of number. It's not a bad number at all, is it? But
very good.
See the numbers for England, where it's at now, and for other people like Romelu Lukaku with 90 goals, something stupid like that. So yeah, probably for how prolific he was in his club career, it is not very many for England. But he's also remembered quite iconically for obviously Euro 96, things like that. People adored
top scorer there as well.
Euro 96 for if you're English. that is like one of your tournaments that, even though it is like a glorious failure moment, it's still one of your tournaments, and Shearer was a massive factor of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, so I think his most iconic moments would have been Euro '96. I think you think of that England-Netherlands game, the 4-1, the Sheringham and Shearer up front. He scores out a really good goal and he just leathers it into the top corner. He was, was iconic that tournament. He's captain in the side as well, isn't he? So he's leading England, and everyone thought he was going to be the man to bring it home at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, they didn't bring it home in the end. The penalty shootout drama with Gareth Southgate, of course, who later becomes England manager. Of course, and I think his other main thing he's remembered for is winning the Premier League with Blackburn.
But that's it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and the Premier League's all-time scorer. They're his three biggest things, aren't they? Okay, so style of play. So, if I said to you, Alan Shearer, what would you say for a style of play?
Old school type forward.
Classic number 9.
Number 9, yeah.
Yeah.
Give the ball in the box, he'll score.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a penalty, he'll score it. He can head the ball. He's a good finisher, but not necessarily the most classy of footballers. Perhaps unfairly.
I think, like you say, physical.
Yeah.
But clinical.
Yeah.
Just an outstanding centre forward. Bullet headers, thunderous volleys. Yeah, some of those goals he scored. I think the one against Everton, that volley, hits it so sweetly, just straight into the top corner. His goal repertoire is really good. It's not just tap-ins. It's not just or little headers at the back post. It is the full range. He's scored free kicks. Yeah. He scored 30-yard screamers. He scores tap-ins. He scores. He's amazing at penalties.
Yeah, really good.
Didn't miss many penalties in his career. Just used to batter them in, didn't he?
He's got quite a good name to shout as well, isn't he, for a commentator?
He's got a great name to shout and an iconic celebration.
Yeah, tried to trademark in it, isn't it? Famously,
the one arm raised.
One arm raised.
Sometimes 2 arms if he was feeling.
Yeah. Nothing special. None of this Ronaldo-like. None of this Haaland. Nothing like that. Just running away with his arm raised.
No backflips.
No.
We don't see that enough anymore, do we? Backflips. They just went for Lua. Yeah. We used to be quite nanny. Used to be quite common, didn't it?
Yeah, Robbie Earnshaw. Yeah.
The back of Earnshaw, yeah. He had a couple of... he used to land on his knee, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. So, not flashy, but he was a brutally effective centre forward. So, if you've not listened to this podcast before, I'd like to throw 3 curveballs at Gareth to maybe challenge the narrative of these players, or to just defend these players against what some might use to criticise their legacies. So, curveball number 1, I think it's a fairly obvious one. Can he be regarded as one of the greats with such a lack of trophies?
I think the natural way that you judge footballers nowadays, particularly striker, goals, and he did have them, but it is also what they've won, and rightly or wrongly. I mean, football is different to other sports in that actually you can win up to sort of 4 trophies a year. Some sports is sort of only 1 up for grabs, but that means that there's not many people winning domestic trophies, international trophies, and continental trophies every season. And so it is difficult to judge a player purely on how many trophies he wins. But there is a distinct lack of trophies in his cabinet, isn't there? There's that 1 Premier League. Was he around toe-to-toe?
He might have won a couple of those. So we have a look. Right, so his trophy cabinet is Premier League, 2 FA Cup runners-up. He could have denied the treble in '99, but they lost in '98 as well to Arsenal's double. He won the Tournoi de France with England in '97. I think that's it.
Wow.
He might have won a Total Cup as well, but
and it's tricky because he's playing for Blackburn at a time when their title win, you wouldn't quite call it a Leicester, would you? What would you call it? Like
it's not a Leicester because they had money at the time, didn't they?
Yeah, is it like a Man City if Man City only won those first couple of trophies? Maybe it's tricky because obviously the Saudi money or the UAE money's involved.
I think he just kind of stands alone with it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. In terms of Blackburn, come out of nowhere. They are a historic club in terms of the foundations of football and everything like that. They're right back. Way back when Blackburn as a town was important, but they get investment in it and they use that investment well. They win the Premier League on the back of it, so fair play to them. but you wouldn't expect them to be there or thereabouts, and they don't do it again.
That's probably why they lose.
Yeah,
Shearer straight after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes to Newcastle. Newcastle again, like you said earlier, were challenging for I don't know, what would you call them, like a Tottenham of recent years, something like that, trying to challenge the top.
I think a little bit better than it. Yeah, I think and again, difficult to really decide. Yeah, maybe Spurs. Yeah,
Spurs before this, this recent drop off.
Spurs,
like that, trying to challenge the top and not quite making it.
Playing amazing football.
Yeah. And people like that Newcastle side. A lot of you'll meet people across the UK who are Newcastle fans now, even though they're from not Geordies themselves, because of that side.
Yeah, quite a lot of people when we were in school like Newcastle, didn't they?
Newcastle, but they weren't a great side in that way, and so so it's understandable he didn't win much. But I think when we consider him later against some of the best strikers of all time, it is difficult to put him there when he's never bothering the latter stages of tournaments, where he's not lifting, an iconic image of many footballers. Think of that Messi image lifting that World Cup now.
Well, just lifting the trophy, isn't it? Yeah, like
is part of a footballer's image and icon.
Well, think of Newcastle. There's famous pictures 55, isn't it, of Jackie Milburn lifting the FA Cup,
and now this guy's from last season, which will also go down in Newcastle history.
Exactly, and that's a massive moment, isn't it? That
and he couldn't deliver
Carabao Cup. No, not even a whatever it's called, a milk cup.
Worthington's cup.
Yeah. Right, but I think maybe to counter that, there are no trophies as a team. He has got an amazing individual cabinet. Euros, Golden Boot 96, EFL Cup top scorers, Premier League top scorers.
How many top goals did he get in the Premier League?
Golden Boot 3.
Okay.
95, 96, 97. So 3 in a row. Newcastle Players of the Year, Football Writers Player of the Year, PFA Player of the Year twice. In the Team of the Year, a number of occasions. Even as far as 2003, he was in the Premier League Team of the season. He's in the FIFA 100. He's in Pele's 100. He's in it. Which we've heard some players that didn't make that.
Yeah.
Jairzinho wasn't in his 100, but Shearer is. One of only 7 English players to be in it. He's in the Premier League Hall of Fame. He's obviously the all-time Premier League top goal scorer as well. So he, I think, has enough maybe to balance out with individual trophies. Okay. Right, second curveball. This is a bit of a controversial one, but he declined the move to Man United. So he turned down Sir Alex Ferguson twice. Had he joined United in the late 90s, would we be talking about him as a global icon and a multiple-time champion? No disrespect to Newcastle fans, of course, but if he had joined a club like United, his legacy would have been surely stronger.
I think so. Of course he would. He would have been involved in potentially the treble, potentially, multiple Premier Leagues. His goals, although United had great goal scorers, and he's also his England partner Sheringham. He would have gone on to the latter stages of Champions Leagues. He probably, although it's hard to say, because would he have been as important to United? The team, the team was important to United. Would he have been as important?
Well, I think he would have, surely, because Newcastle have Andy Cole in 94-5. They sell him to United, don't they? Because I think United don't get Shearer.
Yeah.
So you think in a different history, it would have been Shearer up front with Dwight York, I guess, wouldn't it? And Cole might have stayed at Newcastle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's surely a good enough player to. And Ferguson a good enough manager to fit him in.
Longevity-wise, which Ferguson liked as well. He was someone who kept going and going, and very rarely injured, from what I recall. I know he did struggle with injuries towards the end of his career.
Yeah,
obviously, he was getting older. But I remember like an aging Shearer, really, sort of losing his hair, looking like in some ways like an old man, but still doing the job. To the end.
I guess you got to think if he had gone to United, by 2001, when they're signing Van Nistelrooy, would Shearer have still been in the United team, and he probably would have left or something.
Maybe he would have then gone to Newcastle or something like that.
And he would have been, 30, 31 then, so he would have been towards, back then, towards right at the end of his career, really.
But you think he would have lifted more trophies, of course, because United did in that time, and would that change the narrative on him? Possibly so. Possibly.
Yeah, I think anything to do with United usually has that
Yeah.
strong narrative attached to it. Right, but respect to him for staying at his local club, I guess.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that's you don't get that a lot in football
And he's
nowadays.
universally loved by everyone, really, isn't he? He's respected from Sunderland fans, but he is generally respected by most football fans, I'd say.
And particularly the Newcastle faithful. I mean, we've run things on our Twitter before, haven't we, about sort of greatest Premier League striker,
Toon Poles,
greatest hometown striker, all those sort of things, and Toon Poles, who are good blokes, but are belligerent on Twitter. They do not let a poll slide, and Shearer has won many of our
unless they're up against Universitario from Peru. Right, and final curveball. Is he one-dimensional in modern terms? So would Shearer thrive in today's fluid, pressing-heavy, multi-role striker systems, or would his game be seen as too traditional?
Yes, he would. yeah, he would struggle.
Yeah.
He would struggle nowadays. It's the old, give him modern fitness, give him modern, and he's fairly modern as well. I'm talking about something from decades and decades ago, but
he feels like he's old, doesn't he?
Yeah,
yeah.
He would have been bred into that way of playing now, but what I think it means that he wouldn't have ever got like a Man City or a Liverpool move. But you could see him playing for some of those sides that are still very much up for that sort of crash bang type.
Crash bang wallop. Yeah.
Sort of
yeah.
football.
There are still some of those strikers about, aren't there?
They're less common though, aren't they? They are less common when you think of well, and he wasn't slow as such, was he? He was someone who could run onto it, but would he be the sort of guy you get in a counter-attacking team running onto the end of things? You don't get that sort of directness as much anymore, do you? I suppose he'd be a great option to bring on for some of those sides when they need him. But he does hold the ball up so I think of in the Championship now. My word, he'd be banging them in the Championship. He's a bit like, this is disrespectful, like Mitrovic.
Mitrovic's good.
Yeah, disrespectful to Shearer though, to a failed Newcastle striker with Mitrovic, but who was just so hard to play against in the Championship. That style of big bloke, given the ball in the box, he'll score. That is very much him. It was just he was almost relentless. And I can just remember as we started to watch football in the early 2000s, really him being a regular goal scorer match of the day. You watch match of the day, Shearer scored again. Whatever the style of goal that was, he was scoring. But no, he is hard to translate into modern football. We've always said with some of these ones we've done. Who do you compare him to now? It's really hard to say, isn't it? Who would be now?
It is hard. Just at number 9, isn't it? Yeah, Haaland, I guess, but
Haaland
is bigger again, isn't he?
Haaland's bigger again and quicker again, isn't he? Probably. It possibly is into that style, maybe. Maybe it's like a Harry Kane type thing in some ways.
Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane's good. That's a good,
yeah.
Classic English number 9.
Yeah.
Right. So legacy and influence. So he is still, of course, the Premier League's all-time record goal scorer, as we've alluded to before. Harry Kane, as we just said, it's come pretty close. Salah is, getting closer and closer. Henry, not too bad. Aguero, pretty good. Rooney, players, really top-level players. But no one's, I think, come within, 40 goals of his record still.
Everyone thought Rooney would do it, wasn't it? Everyone said Rooney was going to do it, and he
then everyone said Kane would do it.
On a massive goal run. What's Rooney, 200-something goals? And Kane, my two friends have got a bet on still going, obviously, because Kane's career's going, 50 quid on would Kane beat it? And it was way back when, actually. It was a gamble from the one of them to say that Kane was going to do it when he was just breaking through at Tottenham, really. And everyone was convinced Kane was going to do it. And obviously, you think he probably would have. Had he not lost 2 seasons now, he may well come back at some point.
Well, Kane's a really good parallel with Shearer, because if, had Kane stayed at Spurs, he would have, finished his career with the Premier League all-time top scorer, most likely.
But most likely
trophies. But with no trophies. Or maybe, one cup here, there, wherever. And we would be maybe doing this podcast again in 20 years' time. How good was Harry Kane? What was he like? Was he as good as we remember? He scored loads of goals, but he didn't win anything. But we know Harry Kane is class.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
I think Shearer I think there are very good parallels. But Kane decided, I'm going to go and leave. And even though in his first season he didn't win anything, now he's won the Bundesliga, isn't he? So he has
the monkey's off the back in that way,
is.
isn't it? But you're right. Actually, it is a very interesting parallel because Kane, top goal scorer in World Cup, Kane,
Premier League top goal scorer.
Premier League top goal scorer multiple times, runner up in many cup competitions at times. Sometimes
Champions League,
playing when not fit, maybe, or pushing himself to play. Team first, England icon. It's a very similar career path, isn't it? But Kane has taken what some previously would say a brave move abroad is not so much now. It's now a sort of well-trodden path for players, but it's certainly an unusual move for this.
It would have been if Shearer had moved.
Yes, mind-blowing, in the early 2000s if Shearer had gone, other than to like a Real Madrid, which he never would have done, but, those sort of, him to Bayern Munich back then would have been unheard of, really. Totally unheard of. But Kane did it to seemingly get that trophy monkey off his back. And I think so many people have debated when he moved. Remember, so many podcasts, things like that were going, what's more important, being the Premier League all-time top goal scorer, and in the history books in that way, with probably a record that's never beaten, or winning one or two Bundesligas and a German Cup.
Champions League, maybe, though.
Possibly Champions League, and that's what he's gone chasing, isn't it? And he's not quite got it there yet. But it's a fair point, and you can't undermine Shearer's legacy for that, because when we talk about those great strikers that have been in the Premier League, some of them have not spent their whole career here. But someone like Salah, who just seems to score so consistently, Haaland, possibly if he were to stay, would get there. Rooney, who was phenomenal at times, haven't touched Shearer, and it is impressive. He did it for Newcastle. Newcastle are not winning the league every week. They're not winning games every week. There were some times where they lost, and therefore you're not going to score as many as the opponent, all those sort of things in those games. And so to have done it for a Newcastle, for a Blackburn, it is impressive, really impressive.
It is. Another thing for legacy, of course, is that once a lifetime title for Blackburn. He's a symbol of loyalty at Newcastle. He paved the way for the modern English number 9. Now he's a pretty good pundit, I'd say. He's all right, isn't he? I don't mind Shearer as a pundit. He has a statue, of course, as well.
Of course, he's got a statue.
That's pretty good. There's not many statues around where we live, so that's not a bad one. Right, let's go for quotes from others first.
Okay.
Let's hear what Sir Alex Ferguson had to say about Alan Shearer. He said he had everything you'd want in a centre forward.
That's probably why he tried to sign
him. Twice. Thierry Henry said he's the best finisher I've ever seen in the Premier League.
That's quite a big quote, isn't it?
Yeah, Henry, not bad. And Alan Hansen, of course, of BBC Match Today back in the day, he's the most complete striker of his generation.
Okay.
Not bad, that. If you've seen other strikers in his generation, though, Ronaldo.
Yeah, Hansen's talking Premier League there, surely.
Yeah, must be.
Surely.
Leon Dublin?
Yeah.
He's not. Yeah, he was right. Okay, right.
Well, are you complete than Dion Dublin if you've not invented your own musical instrument
and present on
yeah
tube on Homes Under the Hammer?
Yeah, I think Dion Dublin's more complete in
that
way.
Up to the bedrooms. Okay, right. Let's see what you guys have to say about Alan Shearer. Was he as good as we remember? How good was he? Let's get started. Do you want to go?
Hilary Evans, who is Welsh, so we've got to bear that in mind. Was he as good as Ian Rush?
Yeah, good comparison. Similar number 9, I suppose.
CJG says best out-and-out striker and captain I've ever seen. Considering he played when it was a contact sport and a mid-table Newcastle side, to go and get 283 league goals is not quite that, is it? 260.
I guess if you count his
Southampton goals,
yeah,
nobody will ever match up.
Yeah, fair play. James Smith says that before his knee injuries robbed him of pace, he was as good as I've seen in over 45 years. After he lost his pace, he's still able to readapt and score goals regularly. That's a good point, actually, readapting to when his pace has gone.
Craig Potter says, had the pleasure of watching his entire Newcastle career from the stands. That's good to say, isn't it?
Yeah,
He adores the man. Carried the Newcastle team single-handedly for half of it. Lost 2 years to injury. And ended up changing his entire style after losing a yard of pace. How many goals would he have ended up with?
Similar point there. We've got David Stevenson's gif of Tina Turner saying he's simply the best, better than all the rest.
Fair. Old Age Mag says very simply the best.
Nice. David says not sure we've had a player since we've had such faith in. He was absolute class.
Peter Simpson, the best centre forward the Premier League's ever seen for me. Strong, quick, brilliant finisher, and tough too. Scored all types of goals.
Yeah, we've already said that, haven't we? Robin Blake, this is the one that's on point at the moment.
Topical.
Yeah, very topical. Says, put it this way: Isak couldn't lace his boots. I think it's a disappointment there that he could be on his way to Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think there was one of the social media rumours over the last couple of weeks has been that Shearer has sort of spoken to Isak
He's
about
trying to keep him in mind.
don't go. Locks says great until his last two seasons for Newcastle, stayed to take a club record of a legend.
And finally, Andrew Logan says he's outstanding, the best striker I've ever seen. Quality.
It's good to get some perspectives there. I think it's important to, because we said we don't remember being the quickest, and obviously that's because injury in the end did rob him of that bit of pace. But he definitely was someone that if you watched him live, you'll never forget him, and that's what those Newcastle fans who got involved there. They cannot speak highly enough of the man, because what you love to see as a football fan, you love to see a goal scorer, someone scoring for your club, and to have someone who did it sort of 250 plus times for you is huge, really.
Right, let's finish off the podcast with one of my favourite bits to me. Rank them where we believe Alan Shearer should be. So I'm going to give you the first category.
Okay.
Where does he rank alongside English strikers? There's quite a few we could talk about. Maybe name. Do you want to name some?
Okay.
One at a time. Who we think is better than Alan Shearer?
Charlton.
Okay, striker. Charlton. We're going striker, are we? Yeah.
Scored a lot of goals.
He scored a lot of goals for England. Right, I'll go for Jimmy Greaves.
I think it's really tricky with saying it, but Lineker, pretty close.
Yeah,
it's close between two.
Harry Kane.
I think that'd be the top.
So what's that?
5, 6.
Fifth. So be fifth for Ian?
Some would definitely have him higher than some of those as well.
I think his England record.
Rooney's a question as well. Rooney, I think you'd probably have to have
Rooney.
What he did for his club career.
I would put Charlton as a bit further back. So I would have him top 5. Top 5 English strikers.
Yeah, comfortably top 5.
Okay, where does he rank then? All time footballers. How good was he?
I think
he was in Pele's 100. As was El Hadji Diouf.
I think he's in the 40 to 50 range.
That high, all time.
It's tricky, isn't it?
It is tricky. It is hard. It's hard.
50. That's the lowest we've put someone so far that we've done, isn't it? In that, if we look at that. Possibly 50 to 60. It's hard.
What I need to know is what people from other countries think about Alan Shearer.
There's a British bias there, isn't there? We're not English, we're Welsh, but we are drawn into that.
We've seen a lot of his football.
We've seen him. We hear of him. We see his impact still in the quizzes or the everything that you look at where he's still there. So maybe it is even lower down. But then equally, it's hard to say. Isn't it?
I'd have him in the 50 to 100 in there somewhere. To be fair, you can actually vote for Alan Shearer, because we at the moment have reopened our TFHB 100 vote. We're trying to find the top 100 men's footballers of all time, because we've got a brand new website, tfhbs.com. So go on there, go to where it says TFHB 100, click the link, and you will be able to vote for your 5 best footballers of all time. Alan Shearer is, of course, an option. I think Toon Polls have already got a hold of this, so there's quite a lot of votes to Shearer, but you can vote for whoever you want. And we'll see where he ends up. Yeah,
I think he's of a certain age. You remember him perhaps as an absolute great. For others, they'd go, not for me. But you can't knock the impact he had.
I think our opinions on Shearer are different now. People's will be different now because of the change in how football is played now.
Yeah.
The style of football, how it is, the goal scoring, how prolific players like Ronaldo and Messi are. We go, Shearer, is he that good really? He's a traditional number 9, but I think you got to think at his time.
Yeah.
I think he was an absolute great.
Yeah.
And I think he should be remembered as a traditional great of the game.
A game that we've lost.
A game that we've lost. Yeah. Okay, right. If you want to relive the game that we lost, it's on our website. There is loads of good articles. There's about 400 articles that we've written over the years. You can go and check those out at tfhbs.com. You can also go to a YouTube channel where there's a video about Alan Shearer's Unbreakable 260 on there. That's at tfhbs on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at tfhbs as well. TikTok at Football History Boys, and Instagram at Football History Boys as well. So all the social channels.
Yeah.
Let us know how good was Alan Shearer. Comment on the podcast as well. Subscribe to the podcast. I think we've got about 230 followers now, which is brilliant. But we'd love to get a few more.
Yeah.
We entered the charts again this week.
Nice.
Spain.
Well, hey.
19th in Spain.
Hola.
Yeah. Hola. So hola to our Spanish listeners there. And is that everything?
I think so. Definitely get involved. We love hearing from you, and we want to hear who else we should look at. We've enjoyed this series immensely, haven't we, of how good were they. Looking back at, we're not interested in Messi and Ronaldo anymore. We want to know fringe players, how good were they?
Mm-hmm.
So let us know who should we look at next.
Fantastic. That's everything then?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you again for another one very soon. Adios.